Welcome back to the channel US Coins History that uncovers the rarest, most valuable, and sometimes totally unexpected coins hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving deep into a coin you've definitely handled, probably spent, and almost certainly overlooked, the United States Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 2001. Now, I know what you're thinking. A dime? From 2001? That's not even old. It's not silver, it's not ancient, and it's not from some obscure mint. But here's where things get fascinating. Because this tiny, 10-cent coin, if you've got the right one, could be worth a small fortune. Let's start with a bit of background. The Roosevelt dime has been a part of U.S. coinage since 1946, introduced to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the country through the Great Depression and most of World War II. The dime was chosen for his likeness not only because of his leadership but because of his connection to the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, the very disease that he himself battled. Now fast forward to 2001, over half a century after the Roosevelt dime was first minted. By this time, the U.S. Mint had long switched from silver to a copper-nickel-clad composition for dimes, starting in 1965. Most 2001 dimes were made for everyday use. They were mass-produced, widely circulated, and basically used for vending machines, cash registers, and your everyday pocket change. But here's the twist: not all 2001 Roosevelt dimes are created equal. While millions were struck that year across multiple mints, a small number of them came out different. Some had errors. Some had rare features. Some were struck in such pristine condition that they became instant treasures for collectors. And a few, very few, combined all of the above. So, what makes certain 2001 dimes so incredibly valuable? Let's talk about error coins, the holy grail for collectors. These are coins that slipped past the mint's strict quality control with mistakes that make them one of a kind. And in 2001, several fascinating errors were reported in the Roosevelt dime series. One of the most famous is the off-center strike, where the design is visibly misaligned, with part of the coin's surface blank. Depending on how far off the strike is, these coins can command huge premiums. Then there are double die errors, where the image or lettering appears doubled, giving it a ghost-like or blurry look. These errors are often extremely subtle, and extremely valuable. Another key factor? The no-s-proof error. Although not specifically tied to 2001, this famous anomaly has collectors constantly on the lookout for similar issues in other years. That's why dimes from all eras, including modern ones like 2001, are carefully examined by collectors searching for rare variants. But beyond minting errors, there's also the matter of grade. A 2001 Roosevelt dime that has never been circulated, kept in flawless condition, and professionally graded at the top of the scale, say MS 69 or MS 70, is a gem in its own right. When you combine a high grade with a rare mint error or variation, that's when the real magic happens. One more thing: some of these high-value 2001 dimes were found in U.S. mint sets, which were sold directly to collectors. But many more were released into circulation, meaning they could have ended up in your pocket, your change jar, or hiding in a drawer right now. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these rare 2001 Roosevelt dimes? First, check the mint mark. It'll be a small letter near the date. In 2001, dimes were minted in Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, for proofs. Look closely for anything odd about the lettering, spacing, or texture. Use a magnifier if needed. Next, examine the overall design for any doubling, misalignment, missing features, or unusual edge patterns. Anything that doesn't match a typical dime could be your clue. Finally, if you think you've got something unique, get it graded and authenticated by a professional coin grading service. That's how collectors and auction houses verify rarity and set true market value. Because here's the kicker: one of these 2001 Roosevelt dimes, with a known error, in perfect uncirculated condition, and authenticated by top grading experts, didn't just go into a collection. It went up for auction. And it didn't just sell for a few $100, or even a few thousand. It sold for a stunning, unbelievable, and very real total of $40,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 10-cent coin from 2001. $40,000. That's enough to buy a brand new car, put a down payment on a house, or fund an entire college education. From a dime.so. If you've ever thought modern coins aren't worth anything, think again, take a second look at your change. Dig through your drawers. Open that dusty coin jar. Because the difference between an ordinary dime and a rare treasure could be hiding in your own home, just waiting to be found. Today, we're about to reveal a jaw-dropping story about one of the smallest coins in your wallet, that could be worth more than most people make in a year. Yes, you heard that right. We're diving into the mysterious and valuable world of the 2005 United States Roosevelt $1 dime. A coin that, for most people, goes unnoticed, but for a lucky few, it could be the key to an unexpected fortune. Let's begin with a little background. The Roosevelt dime has been a part of everyday American life since 1946, created to honor the memory of President Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his death. It's been minted ever since, with his profile on the front and a torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, a design symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Fast forward to 2005. It's a modern year in numismatics, but make no mistake, modern coins can carry just as much mystery and value as those minted a century ago. By 2005, the dime was long established in its modern form. It was no longer silver, having transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition decades earlier. Most 2005 dimes were made in high quantities, intended for everyday transactions. The mint facilities in Philadelphia, marked with a P, and Denver, marked with a D, were churning out millions upon millions of these coins. So how in the world does something so common become so valuable? The answer lies in the details: tiny imperfections, unexpected errors, and flawless condition. You see, most of these 2005 Roosevelt dimes lived hard lives, sliding through vending machines, getting lost in couch cushions, and collecting scratches along the way. But a few, just a few, came out different. Let's talk about error coins, the hidden gems of the coin collecting world. In 2005, a small number of Roosevelt dimes were struck with remarkable minting errors. These weren't your everyday flaws. These were stunning misprints that transformed these dimes into incredibly rare finds. Some of the most sought-after examples include off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned and part of the image is missing; double die errors, where the text or features appear to be duplicated, often most noticeable in the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." Missing clad layer, which gives the coin a coppery appearance on one side instead of the usual silver look; and perhaps most intriguing, misstruck coins that were accidentally struck on the wrong planchet, like a penny or a foreign coin blank. These are beyond rare and highly valuable. Then there's another factor that adds fuel to the fire: condition. When an error coin is found in perfect or near perfect condition, what experts call mint state, or MS, its value skyrockets. Grading services like PCGS or NGC rate these coins on a scale from 1 to 70, and anything graded MS 67 or higher is a treasure in its own right. Combine that with a recognized mint error, and you're looking at a serious investment piece. You might be wondering, how do people even find these coins? Well, believe it or not, many are discovered completely by accident. A sharp-eyed collector might spot something unusual in their change. A coin roll hunter might find it while going through bank rolls. Even those mint sets people buy and forget about. They could contain one of these extremely rare varieties. What's wild is that these treasures don't come with a big red flag. There's no sparkle, no flashing sign, just a tiny detail that's ever so slightly off. But in the coin collecting world, that mistake is a golden ticket. Now imagine this. Someone discovers one of these rare 2005 dimes. They take it to a grading expert, and after a full evaluation, the coin is confirmed. It's a mint error, and it's in top-tier condition. Suddenly, this little dime, meant to be worth 10 cents, is no longer pocket change. It's now a highly sought-after piece of numismatic history, and just how much could it sell for? This is where it gets exciting. Because one of these special 2005 Roosevelt dimes, verified for its rarity and preserved in absolutely uncirculated, mint-grade condition, shocked collectors everywhere when it went to auction. It sold for a staggering total of $37,000. That's right. $37,000. For a dime.so, what's the takeaway here? Never underestimate the power of the smallest coin in your pocket. Because while most 2005 Roosevelt dimes are worth exactly 10 cents, a rare few are worth more than a luxury car, a college degree, or a down payment on your dream home. The next time you get change, take a closer look. Flip that dime over. Examine the edges. Pay attention to every tiny detail. Because buried in your spare change could be a piece of treasure that changes your life. Today, we're exploring a coin that's been in circulation for decades. It's tiny, familiar, and often overlooked. But what if I told you that a 1990 Roosevelt dime could secretly be worth a small fortune? Yes, you heard that right. That little 10-cent coin you probably used in a vending machine or dropped into a parking meter could actually be one of the rarest and most valuable coins minted in modern times. Let's dive into the fascinating story of the 1990 United States Roosevelt one dime. Now, the Roosevelt dime has been around since 1946. It was created to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, following his death in 1945. His leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left a lasting legacy, and the dime was chosen as a tribute, partly due to his connection with the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio. Since then, the design has remained largely unchanged. The obverse features a portrait of Roosevelt, while the reverse displays a torch flanked by olive and oak branches, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 1990, this dime had become a staple in American coinage. Billions were already in circulation. Most people didn't give them a second thought, but here's the twist. While most 1990 Roosevelt dimes are worth exactly 10 cents, a small handful are worth thousands, and one in particular shocked the numismatic community with its auction price. To understand why, we need to talk about mint marks and errors. In 1990, the U.S. Mint was producing dimes at several facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from San Francisco were typically made for proof sets, those beautifully polished coins sealed in special cases for collectors. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some of the 1990 proof dimes from the San Francisco Mint were released without a mint mark. Normally, these coins would feature a clear S on the front, just above the date. But in a few extremely rare cases, that S was missing. No mint mark. Just the year, 1990, and Roosevelt's portrait. This happened because of a die error, when the mint accidentally used a die that hadn't been properly engraved with the mint mark. This type of mistake is incredibly rare, and when it happens, it creates a coin that stands out from all the rest. These no S dimes weren't meant to be released. But a few slipped through the cracks and ended up in collectors' hands. What makes this even more exciting is that the error wasn't discovered until after the coins had already been sealed into official government proof sets. So yes, it's entirely possible that someone bought a set directly from the mint in 1990, tossed it into a drawer, and has no idea they're sitting on a tiny fortune. And here's the kicker: condition matters. If a rare coin like the 1990 No.S. Roosevelt dime is found in perfect or near perfect condition, its value multiplies significantly. We're talking about coins that have never been touched by human hands, still shining with that flawless mirror finish, graded by professionals as PR 69 or even PR 70. Collectors go crazy for these kinds of coins. Why? Because they represent not just rarity, but a historical fluke, a moment when the mint made a mistake, and that mistake became gold in the hands of those lucky enough to find it. But it's not just the no-S error you should be looking for. Other valuable 1990 Roosevelt dimes include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing; double die errors, where letters and numbers appear to be duplicated; clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is literally missing from the edge. Each of these rare variations can increase the value of a coin tremendously, especially when paired with a high-grade condition. So what should you do? Start checking those old proof sets. Examine every 1990 dime closely. Look for missing mint marks. Look for doubling in the lettering. Get a magnifier and study the rim, the edges, the details in Roosevelt's face. And if you find something unusual, don't guess, get it professionally graded, because that's how the most valuable dimes are authenticated. Through third-party services like PCGS or NGC, which can certify the coin's rarity and condition and make it eligible for high-end collectors and auctions. Now, you've stuck with us this far, and I know what you're really wondering. Just how much can a single 1990 Roosevelt dime be worth? Well, one particular coin, an official 1990 Roosevelt dime with the missing S mint mark, found in pristine, untouched condition, graded and verified, recently made headlines when it hit the auction block, and this tiny, 10-cent coin ended up selling for an astonishing $46,000. That's right. A dime. Worth $46,000. So the next time you come across a coin that seems ordinary, take a closer look. Because in the world of coin collecting, the smallest details can hold the biggest surprises. And your next great discovery could be hiding in plain sight. Today. Because the coin we're talking about might be the size of your thumbnail, but it's made waves in the world of rare U.S. currency. We're diving into the story of the 1975 Roosevelt $1 dime, a coin that millions of Americans have handled, spent, and forgotten, yet one special version of it could be hiding a life-changing secret. Let's start with some background. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, introduced just months after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. His leadership during two of America's toughest times, the Great Depression and World War II, left a lasting legacy. He was also closely associated with the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, which made honoring him on the 10-cent coin especially meaningful. From the moment it was introduced, the Roosevelt dime became one of the most used coins in American commerce. By the time 1975 rolled around, these dimes had been in the hands of Americans for nearly 30 years. The design had changed very little, but what makes 1975 so special is not the design, it's what should have been on the coin, but isn't. Here's where the story starts to get interesting. In most years, the San Francisco Mint produces proof coins. These are special, mirror-like coins made for collectors. They're not meant to be used in everyday circulation. They come in sets, are carefully handled, and usually display exceptional detail. On these coins, you'll normally find a small S mint mark indicating they were made in San Francisco, but in 1975, something extraordinary happened. A very small number of proof dimes were minted without the S mint mark. These are now known as the 1975 No S proof dimes, and they are extremely rare. We're talking about only a couple known examples in existence. This wasn't just a small error, it was a major slip-up by the U.S. Mint. Proof coins are supposed to go through rigorous checks. So how did these mint markless dimes get out into the world? Most likely, a proof die intended for production was mistakenly left without the mint mark and somehow got used. Once those sets were distributed, the mistake was locked in. The result? A tiny handful of 1975 dimes that look just like any other, except for one missing detail that makes them worth a fortune. So how can you tell if you have one? The first thing you'll want to look at is the date, 1975. Then check the area just above the date. That's where the mint mark should be. If there's no S and you're looking at a coin that has that deep, mirror-like finish typical of proof coins, you may want to hold your breath. Because you might be looking at one of the rarest modern coins ever made, but that's not the only thing to watch for. Even standard 1975 Roosevelt dimes from Philadelphia or Denver could be valuable, if they contain certain errors or unusual features. These could include off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, double die errors, where parts of the coin appear duplicated, especially in the lettering or date, clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a miscut blank. Combine any of those errors with a pristine condition, especially if it's never been in circulation, and you've got something that collectors would love to get their hands on. Now, condition is key. A coin straight from circulation will likely have scratches, dings, and wear, which lower its value. But a coin that's been kept safe, untouched, uncirculated, and possibly part of a mint or proof set, could be graded much higher. Professional grading services, like PCGS or NGC, evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. The closer a coin is to that perfect 70, the more valuable it becomes, especially when it's rare to begin with. The best part? These coins don't scream valuable. They don't sparkle differently. They don't weigh more. In fact, they look exactly like the dimes you probably walk past every single day. That's what makes stories like this so exciting, the possibility that something incredible could be hiding in plain sight. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. One of these 1975 Roosevelt dimes, specifically, one of the rare no-S-proof versions, was discovered, authenticated by experts, and sold at auction. The coin was in flawless proof condition. It had no mint mark. And it was officially verified as one of only a couple known to exist, and when the gavel fell, that tiny 10-cent coin sold for an unbelievable $56,000. That's right. A coin that most people would overlook or use to buy gum could be worth $56,000 if it's the right one. So here's your takeaway: check your coins. Look at every dime that crosses your path, especially those dated 1975. Look closely at the area where the mint mark should be. Check for that mirror-like proof finish. And if you think you found something special, don't guess, get it professionally graded and certified, because that one little detail could change your life. Today, we're diving into something that might look small and ordinary at first glance but holds a world of mystery and value beneath its surface. That's right, we're talking about the United States Roosevelt one dime from 1991. You've probably held one of these in your hand, dropped it in a vending machine, or maybe found one loose in a jar of coins at home. But what if I told you that one special 1991 dime could be worth tens of thousands of dollars? Let's explore what makes this particular dime so fascinating, and why collectors around the world are on the lookout for it. The Roosevelt dime, as many of you know, was first minted in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's legacy as a leader during the Great Depression and World War II, plus his connection to the fight against polio through the March of Dimes, made him a fitting figure to be immortalized on America's 10-cent coin. Since its introduction, the design has remained largely consistent, with Roosevelt's profile on the front and a torch with olive and oak branches on the back symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Fast forward to 1991, a year when millions of these dimes were minted at different U.S. mint facilities. The Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints each produced their versions. Most coins from this year are common and carry only their face value, but a few rare exceptions exist that can command extraordinary prices among collectors. One of the key reasons for this elevated value lies in minting errors or unique variations that occasionally slip past the mint's quality controls. In 1991, some Roosevelt dimes were produced with unusual characteristics, things like missing mint marks, doubled dies, or off-center strikes. These anomalies make certain coins stand out, turning what's usually a common dime into a sought-after collector's item. Take the no mint mark error, for example. Normally, the mint mark indicates which mint facility produced the coin: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. If a 1991 dime lacks a mint mark where one should be, especially on a proof or special issue coin, it becomes instantly rare. These mistakes are unintentional but incredibly valuable because collectors prize scarcity and uniqueness. Then there's the fascinating world of double die errors, where the images on the coin's surface appear duplicated or blurred. This occurs when the coin die, the engraved stamp used to strike the coin, shifts slightly during production. The effect can be subtle, sometimes just doubling of letters or numbers, but occasionally more pronounced. Coins with these doubled features can fetch high prices, especially when found in top condition. Off-center strikes are another eye-catching error. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the press, resulting in part of the design missing. While a coin with a slight off-center strike might still be worth just a few extra dollars, those with dramatic misalignments and strong detail can be very valuable. Condition plays a crucial role in the worth of any coin. A heavily worn or damaged dime will rarely bring more than face value, even if it has an error. On the other hand, a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, often graded by professional services as mint state or proof grades, can attract serious interest and commanding prices. So, what about the 1991 Roosevelt dime in particular? Some versions of this coin have surfaced with the types of errors mentioned, but there's one specific variant that has recently caught collectors' attention: a 1991 dime with a unique mint mark error combined with exceptional condition. this coin has been authenticated and professionally graded as near perfect, and it has become one of the most coveted items for modern coin collectors. The rarity of the error and the flawless condition make it a truly remarkable find. Now, here's the exciting part that you've been waiting for: the value. That very rare and sought-after 1991 Roosevelt dime recently sold at auction for an astonishing $41,000. Yes, a single dime worth $41,000. It's almost unbelievable, but it's a testament to how even the smallest and most familiar coins can hide incredible value for those who know what to look for. If you have a stash of coins at home or even just loose change, take a close look. Look carefully at the date, the mint mark location, and the coin's condition. And if you spot anything unusual, missing mint marks, doubled letters, or off-center designs, don't hesitate to have it examined by a professional coin grader. Who knows? You might be holding a treasure that could change your life. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to uncover more hidden coin stories, tips for finding rare coins, and fascinating numismatic history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our upcoming videos packed with incredible coin discoveries. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp, your collections growing, and happy hunting.